So there's not a lot of not creepy outcomes for this whole story, if we're being fair. Uh, but yeah, nonetheless, we've listened to a handful of some pretty creepy songs on here. I mean, Nick Cave's been on this channel too many times for not to be. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. We hope everybody had a lovely holiday and that you all are doing well. And welcome back to another Friday edition where we devote the episode to a song selected by one of you lovely people out there in the listening audience. Today, we are going to be doing an episode devoted to the band The Wind Up Birds and their track Tyre Fire. And it was requested by BOQ 780 underscore 2.0. And is BOQ formerly, what was it, admin of the Geese? Yes, that's what I thought. I thought seems to be recycling through the usernames here, but yeah, been around for a long time.
The authorities track him down slowly, and then when they get he changes his name and he's away again.
Exactly. Damn it.
Into the night.
So yes, the
when
artist.
you know what he's done, you can't blame him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he went ahead and suggested on this track on our Veils Do Your Bones Glow at Night episode. So we flipped a coin. John is going to be going off and giving this thing a spin, and I have done my homework on the track and the band. So John, you've got everything you need here. Why don't you go off and give this thing a go and come back and let us all know what you've made of it?
No one can help when she feels insignificant. She lost some fingers in an industrial accident. She met a man, he was transparent.
Great start. Immediately I've got that sort of northern Alan Bennett meets David Gedge sort of nuanced, detailed commentary of a melodrama. Something about no one can help when she feels insignificant. She lost some fingers in an industrial accident. Yeah. That's great stuff. It's got a bit of that sort of post-punky vibe to it with the rhythm section, and there's guitars kind of noodling. But yeah, immediately it's grabbed my attention. I like this. The guy in the bedroom playing with matches, God, it made me think of Albie from Cracker for a start. But I recognise him. He's an actor, and he's done like northern stuff. I'm sure this all feels very northern.
After a time his eyes did wonder, he sidled away. Another absconder, he said he was bored. She admired his candour. So won't you give me something so that I can sleep? 'Cause I don't know how much longer I can keep this up all night. Vigils at the window, I can't see you through all the smoke though. Oh no. He kept in touch, the occasional email. He dropped hints about his luck with females, made him look like an imbecile. After 6 months he had a change of heart, wanted to try and go back to the start. Safe to say that she just might.
Okay. Yeah, just to say, I really love the tone of that guitar. You've got this sort of first one, which is kind of meandering almost, melodic, sort of we're just dropping in stuff, and then it goes to this more sort of like slightly fuzzy, almost like I don't know, stringent sound to it. It's just got that little bit of bitterness. Yeah, really nice. I like the aesthetic as well. It's not quite half man, half biscuit with their school clothes, but it's getting that way. And I like the fact as well, the lead singer, you don't see many sort of grey haired guys. I guess you see more nowadays than you used to. But yeah, it's good that he's not gone overboard on the Just for Men, because he looks good and he sounds great. I really like he's got charisma about him. I like his delivery as well. This could, definitely, this could easily be in a sort of Bradford or Leeds accent, or even a Sheffield accent for that matter. Yeah, good stuff.
So won't you give me something so that I can sleep? 'Cause I don't know how much longer I can keep this up all night. Vigils at the window, I can't see you through all the smoke though. Yeah,
Buzzcocks, harmonies.
But I can't see you through all the smoke though. No, no, no. In the end, she told him to shove it, not in person. She couldn't face that. It felt good, but it was fleeting. He would mooch her around outside her work. Among her friends, it was a standing joke, but to her, it wasn't that funny. So won't you give me something so that I can sleep? 'Cause I don't know how much longer I can keep this up all night. Vigils at the window, I can't see you 'cause of all the smoke though. Yeah, what a body blow, but I can't see you through all the smoke though. Oh no. Through the window she can see black smoke, and in the shadows this idiot bloke in a leather coat outside her work. She used to like the twinkle in his eye, now she can't think why. It's like the photo on the cover of one of them macho gangster books. And the fact that people find it funny and are probably speaking behind her back make it almost unbearable. Her privacy is the only thing she has ever valued. And it tires her out, and she can't sleep, and she varies her route home, and she lingers in the light. Sometimes she'll say in when she wants to go out. Sometimes she'll say in when she wants to go out. It's the third day of the Tyre fire, keep your windows closed. It's safe out on the street, no one really knows. The fire engine sounds through a crowded street of clones, capturing the flames on their camera phones. Calendar will not compete for the view. The kids cloud in the background like they're supposed to. Once you see the smoke, you can't avert your eyes. Cars pull over, gawping in lay-bys. Something ancient stirs in your insides. The primitive man in the cave where he hides. Tears evaporate, heat sings your face. Overwhelming helplessness puts you in your place. Your history means nothing, consumed by the flames. Lightened of your language, deprived of all your names. Your history means nothing, consumed by the flames. Lightened of your language, deprived of all your names. Your history means nothing, consumed by the flames. Lightened of your language, deprived of all your names. Your history means nothing, consumed by the flames. Lightened of your language, deprived of all your names.
It's an excellent video as well. A really good song. I really enjoyed that. I think the whole thing worked really well. It's definitely got a post-punk feel about it. I think really good post-punk songs, either back then when it first started or now. One of the things they always contained was an element of tension. musically and often lyrically as well. And it had that. I can't tell you I deciphered all meanings of this. There's clearly some melodrama between some bloke and a lass, and then she told him to sling his up, but he's still hanging around. There was lots of references to smoke and looking through smoke. And I don't know if that was metaphorical or literal part of the narrative. And then they're saying that it's the third day of the Tyre fire, so that really is real. And I love the references to calendar and look north. um, yeah, I really like the chorus with these sort of like Buzzcocks like harmonies. Rhythm section was great. Really good front man. Singer was, delivered it with enough character to make it their own and not sound like anyone else. Um, yeah, really enjoyed that. It's great. I want to hear some more of this band. Sounds awesome. So let's find out some more. Let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right, you have returned from the tire fire. Hopefully, there wasn't a lot of inhalation going on there. That stuff's pretty toxic. What did you make of this track, buddy?
Yeah. Okay. So the band start up, and there's kind of like this melodic, chiming post-punk feel to it. Really strong on the rhythm section. Is that kind of driving post-punky sort of feel, which is great. We have a quick straight into the tie, and our singer joins the action. I don't know where they're filming it. For some reason, I got sort of like deserted school vibes, but I don't know. But interesting. At first, although his accent isn't that strong, you sort of get an ear for it later on in the song, but immediately I'm getting northern vibes.
Yeah.
And it's the lyrics. So this is this kind of very particular, and I mean a sort of very well chosen particular sort of uh the words they use, but the narration of some sort of kitchen sink drama. And it has that kind of withering detail, which is kind of like a cross between Alan Bennett and David Gedge, the guy out of Wedding Present. It's kind of a sandwich of those two, or as they would say, perhaps a butty. I love this really nice opening line, which I scrambled down. No one can help when she feels insignificant. She's lost some fingers in an industrial accident. These words could easily be delivered in a Bradford or Leeds accent, or indeed an accent from Sheffield for that matter. You can imagine Mr. Turner saying those sort
Yeah.
of like very, very easily. It has that lovely northern quality where we were talking about this before, this sort of it's like a mini story within a line or two lines where you get the immediate sort of image of the person and a bit of their history of them, and you feel what they're like. So just the fact she lost her fingers in an industrial accident puts her at sort of manual labor, northern,
Yeah. Yeah,
dodgy
working
machines,
class.
all this sort of things sort of fill in the gaps very quickly. And there's sort of that detail as well, which again Alan Bennett's really good as well. It's almost done in a slightly gossipy sort of frame, but you're talking about people like you would do
Hmm.
over a pint or something. Anyway, the guitar wanders around the melody, seemingly lost in thoughts, but it does this charming sort of two note step after the sort of like next couplet, and then the pedal effect kicks in and it has this really nice astringent tone. There's this sort of slight sharpness to it as well as this fuzziness, like it's slightly acidic in nature. Really, really nice. Simple, but it just sounds great. And the two sounds of the guitar contrast really nicely, and they build on that through the song. So the next section must be the chorus. And we get some nice, other the time, like almost sort of pop punk harmonies is sort of like Buzzcocks-ish. Because it's great, because if you listen to the harmonies in isolation, they probably would sound fairly awful, or at least amateurish. But when it's within the context of the song and him singing, it just sounds like his mates joining in. It just sounds really good. I really
Hmm.
like it. It's not the harmonies you get of like a Motown or something like that.
Of
It's
course, right.
definitely some geezers just singing away, but it just sounds great.
But it
Um,
also perfectly matches that northern aesthetic that we just talked about. Like,
yeah,
yeah, this is like some pub harmonies among some fellas, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's no fingers in the ears here. Hey,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, none of
but
that.
he says something like, so you won't give me something so I can sleep because I don't know how much longer I can keep this up all night. I don't really know what he's driving at here. There's a lot of these lyrics, although they seem fairly simple, there was an opaqueness to it as well, which is interesting. And we get an oh no, we drop down to that post-punk bass and drum rhythm section. The guitar goes back, loses that fuzz effect, and goes back to the original sort of, I don't know to say fragile, but there's a slight delicacy to it, like it's a sickly child almost.
Mhm.
And then as he goes along, it loops back into the effect for the second half of the second verse. Um, so we get more details of this melodrama, which I'm not really following because one, I'm really enjoying the music. Two, I'm really enjoying the video. And the lyrics are washing over me, but I do know I like the lyrics. They're just not sticking in my head. I really like the singer's delivery and his voice. Um, yeah, it's definitely is his voice. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't sound like
Mhm.
anybody else. There's a lot of charisma and character in his voice that
Yes.
makes it that you could pick it out. Also, I really like the aesthetics as well. So there's a time when the guy had to be over 60 before you saw a singer with grey hair. And that's changed now. And that's really nice and refreshing because he's a fairly young guy, but he's just gone grey. And I think one of the
Yeah.
other had a touch of grey in his hair as well. And it's just nice they haven't, gone overboard in the old Just for Men, and because you can tell they've got like shoe polish hair.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that sounds funny coming from a guy who no longer has any hair, criticizing other people's hair or whatever, but I can still appreciate it. And
Yeah,
I think
it's
he looked good. He looked good.
yeah, and it's
Um,
welcomed. It's welcomed by a guy who has way too much gray for someone who's like in his early 40s, and has had it since he was in his early 30s. So, I agree with you. It's nice to know that there's room for guys with gray.
yeah, your man from the Flaming Lips always had grey hair, and there's a
Yeah.
couple of others, Tindersticks, Stuart Staples, but not that many. Um, But yeah, there's also some really nice shots of the band at this point. You get sort of this overall, and it's not exactly half man, half biscuit in their school clothes. I don't know if you know, but when they first started, they would play in their old school clothes because they didn't.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, so it's not exactly that, but there's definitely an air of this sort of almost like student-y stroke interview at the job centre. We're going to discuss your benefits
Mhm.
about that look, which is again really enjoyed. The bass player thing had a button that says something like bass on his badge, which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, we cycle back through the chorus again, and the next verse has the guitar affecting it from the very start. Something about her telling him to shove it, but not doing it to his face or something. And we go, so there's a breakdown I think in this relationship. We go back into the chorus, and I notice at this point, because we've been catching odd lines, that there's loads of references that have been throughout to smoke and looking through smoke. Now, I don't know if this is metaphorical or part of the narrative because the title, Tyre Fire. But I'm thinking about the effects of looking through smoke, whether you don't see clearly or not. Someone's like blowing smoke up your ass, as they say, and all that sort of stuff. These are the sort of things that rattle through me. But
Hmm.
the next verse, it drops down the music, so we get the classic technique in storytelling within a song. This bit is the gather round, come closer, this is the essence, or this is the sort of narration point of no return along this sort of narrative before the big climax. Um, and there's a line there, through the window she can see black smoke, and in the shadows this idiot bloke, again, real nice northern sort of parlance. So about a leather coat outside her work. So yeah, this tension all shows in the sort of pulsing bass and the tapping foot of the bass drum. So you get in this, build up, and slowly the guitar starts to like dabble with notes, like it's like clearing its throat, almost getting ready to sing. and mumbling to itself. And then I think it's a snare drum that comes back in and really gives it that sense of urgency within the song. And it feels like it's sped up, and it hasn't at all. It just
Hmm.
feels like it has. Really nice. And then the way he delivers it again has this urgency, and he starts each line with and it tires her out, and she can't sleep, and she varies her route home, which I've really troubling line. Um, and still made me think, because it's not something I've ever even had to think about as a 6 foot lump bloke, that I have to vary my route home. Yeah, it just sounds sinister, and there's obviously something untoward going on. And then musically and visually, they light the match, and the song catches fire again. And he says some lines in this about it's the third day of the Tyre fire. Keep your windows closed as it's safe, and no one knows. Um, so it really is a Tyre fire rather than a sort of thing. And it made me think of a few things. So there is a firm and a town not far from us that does recycling, and they 3 times had a massive fire at that place, where the nearby town had to keep their windows closed for like 2 or 3 days because of the toxic smoke.
It was that
And that
bad,
was,
yeah.
yeah, and that's a town of, I don't know, 5, 10,000 people. So, serious stuff. Three
Yeah.
times this happened. And it also made me think of, I don't know why, there's no reason, but it made me think of the Tyre necklaces, the public executions, in particular in South Africa, you know, that were really grisly. There's, and there's the way there was like the gasoline tied around their neck so that it will melt and burn,
Mm.
and the toxic smoke. It's just really particularly cruel in the details of that way of dealing with someone. We also get some details which may have passed you by, about the attending fire services, and references to Calendar and Look North. Um, they are local news programs for the Yorkshire region. For ITV's Calendar, and BBC would be Look North. So BBC as a whole serves the country, serves the whole world, but they're
Okay.
breaking down into regions as well. So, say 6 o'clock, you would get your national news, BBC News, and then 6:30 till 6:45, you would get Look North, or View West, or
Yeah.
London Today, or whatever as the local news. And ITV do the same with Calendar. And Calendar, interestingly, was the one who brought out Countdown, which is one of the long-running quiz shows, BBC, in Britain, which you cannot escape. But anyway, yeah, it was just really nice to have that. And I think he talks about the kids arsing around in the background of the shot, which again is a really nice touch.
Hmm.
Um, and then it goes on for this, the song climaxes, and we get this verse repeated. I think it's like 4 times. Your history means nothing, consumed by the flames, lightened of your language, deprived of all your names. Now, if you haven't heard the rest of the song, and you just heard that verse,
Right.
the first thing I think of is the Holocaust. I mean, straight
Mm.
away. I
Okay.
mean, really, consumed by flames, deprived of all your names, blah, 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 or some sort of stuff like that. It's just a really odd verse to finish the song with. I
Yeah, it
don't know
doesn't.
what it
I
is.
noticed how stark it stood in
Yeah,
contrast to
really.
everything that preceded it lyrically. So I found that really interesting too.
Yeah, really. And I don't know I really don't know what he's referring to here. Which makes me think that all the other stuff in there was not literal to have this
Mm.
sort of conclusion. So again, I'd have to listen to it a couple more times at least. But yeah, the final chords echo away. One of the really great things about great post-punk music then or now is there's usually some degree of tension. Tension in the music, which mostly is shown by that driving rhythm section versus and often an errant guitar,
Hmm.
but also many times tension in the lyrics, whether it be subject matter, social or political stances and cultural issues, whatever, or the delivery. Um, and although I didn't manage to decode it all, I think this song definitely had all that, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a fantastic song, really up my street. I will say this, and I've managed not to mention it so far, but the video was fantastic as well.
Yeah, yeah, it
The
was.
opening shot of the actor on the bed, lighting the match and watching it burn, it made me think of, and Brits, some people of an age, I know in Britain know this, of Robert Carlyle as Albie in the program Cracker, where he has references to Hillsborough and goes on a killing spree. Really
Hmm.
sinister. I do recognize the actor in this video. He's been in other stuff, sort of northern drama. Usually plays the big, thick lump, you know.
Hmm.
But he did a really great job in this. I loved the cheap CGI flames of the building exploded. You can tell, you know. And
Yeah.
the heat blistering of the protagonist was quite interestingly done as well. Um, I think it's just the detail he was asking about because he always had it turned over, so it was the backside. You didn't see the front of the matchbox. But it's a
Hmm.
large matchbox. I think it was a box of Colts matches. That's a brand name, and they have matches which are usually quite big, and they have a big brown head. But the matches inside this box were small with a red head, which indicates a phosphorus non-safety match. But the red's more dramatic visually; it looks nicer. Um, so yeah, that was just my thoughts on the matches. But yeah, I thought the video was really cool. And as you see him like it's doing all the wiring, as the oh my god, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's just it was awesome, and it began to really, it didn't stop me concentrating on the song either. That's a good thing about it. But yeah, overall, this is a win-win-win. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you. Loved the video, really loved the song, even though some of you say you'd have to go back and give it a listen. As an American, imagine being in my shoes. Now, you helped me out a little bit with some of the references, but nonetheless, as charmed as I am by the Northern accent, especially set in music, there are stuff I'm going to have to go back and listen for a couple more times myself. But I really enjoyed this song. So yeah, it makes sense that you would too. I'm glad that you did, and I'm sure that the artist formerly known as Admin of the Geese appreciates your input as well. But yeah, the Wind Up Birds, they are a Leeds-based band. So there you go. They're out of Leeds, and they've been in existence since 2003. Now, they have no Wikipedia, which I find interesting because they've been around for this long. So there's no real, like, I had to do a lot of like fishing around through different articles and finding out information. So to be fair, I don't even know if they still exist. Now, I found nothing that confirmed their breakup or anything like, or the dissolving of the band, but I assume they're still together. The band consists of singer and lyricist Paul Aykroyd, who I don't think is related to Dan, drummer Ollie Jefferson, bassist Ben Dawson, and guitarist Matt Forrest. They take their name from a book by Japanese author Haruki Murakami, which paints a bleak picture of 20th century Japan, showing that situation and encounters can be far more complex than they appear at face value. Their sound has been described as energetic and raw, angular post-punk. Bassist Ben brings the rock elements to the group and grew up listening to riff-based bands like Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, whilst Ollie was more of a fan of Blur and the Manchester scene. Matt listened to quieter stuff like Bell and Sebastian, while Paul has more of an eclectic taste, having been influenced by the likes of Hanoi Rocks and singer-songwriters like Tom Waits and Scott Walker. Now, that's a veritable who's who of people who have been mentioned on this channel. So it's interesting that each four of these guys are taking from subgenres that aren't so wildly different from each other, but that are different, and they're bringing it together to kind of create an influence here. I will say that the one band that they all agree on being influenced by is the band Pavement, with all members saying that they would like to share a stage with them at some point. So that's interesting stuff. The band has released four full-length albums, two of which were released through Sturdy Records. The Land in 2012 and Poor Music in 2014. Their most recent two full-length albums, Desire Paths in 2017 and Summer Haunts in 2020, were released independently. The band also released two singles whilst with Sturdy Records, one for Tyre Fire and There Won't Always Be an England in April of 2010, and the EP Courage for Tomorrow Will Be Worse, pardon me, in December of 2010. The single Tire Fire also features on the band's debut LP with Sturdy Records, the aforementioned The Land. All right. Paul Chapinall of musicnews.com reviewed the album upon its release, rating it a 3 out of 5-star effort, and wrote, "As interesting as the lyrical content is, the album wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting if the rest of the band weren't up to it. With a solid and occasionally imaginative rhythm section and guitars taking them to the edge of punk, they are the perfect foil for Aykroyd's almost spoken delivery, which could actually be the weak link here, as it as he has a vocal style that can grate at times, but that is a matter of personal taste. And even for somebody who isn't wild about spoken word, I wouldn't consider this the most spoken wordy of deliveries. I mean, it's definitely not soaring or Motown like you just did, but I don't know. Maybe other stuff on the album is, so I don't want to be quick
Yeah,
to
yeah.
judge this individual.
It's kind of
Um,
one song, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Adding, it would be easy to pick holes and list the influences. The Buzzcocks mainly, as they have their knack of wrapping up punk in poppy packets. But this is a first album that contains quite a lot of older, previously released material. Once that is out of their system, it'll be interesting to hear what comes next, as there's a feeling that they are playing within themselves, and there's more to come from them, especially the musicians. And it should be noted that Chapinall described this track, Tire Fire, as desperately moving in his review. Gary Sykes of Counterfeit magazine reviewed the album as well and would write, "The Land is an impressive debut album from Leeds-based outfit The Wind-Up Birds. Full of clever lyrics and catchy social comments. I fully expect the lyricist Paul Aykroyd to be the progeny of John Cooper Clarke. The Wind-Up Birds have a very individual style, which is somewhere in between the Libertines and Art Brut." Adding, "This is a thought-provoking album in which every track is of value." And finally, Jamie O'Neill of LeedsMusicScene.net would rate the album a 9 out of 10 effort and write the following of this track and this hometown album. Tire Fire features a more progressively fading intro, giving a disparity to the seemingly commonplace procedure of bursting straight in with all they can muster, and that contrast is very welcome. Guitar tones range from a distorted trill melody to gentle muted arpeggios. The chorus does not lack in force, with cymbal-heavy percussion and strong distortion. A great climax is built, and strong lyrics end with the track "Your History Means Nothing, Consumed by the Flames." Adding, "The finest songs from the album occur when the band turns off the distortion, ditches the youthful boldness, and mellow down. This is due to the raw emotion pouring out, and the songwriting finesse can be truly admired for what it is. Punk is the kind of genre that can be so easily recreated, and I feel the punky aspects of this album detract from the band's real songwriting talent. Because of this, it is impeccably difficult to score this album, as it has low points as well as downright incredible ones. This band has fantastic potential, but in certain direction, and I feel that if they focus more on ambience rather than replicating sheer noise, they will be able to display their capabilities much more effectively and end up making a real name for themselves." I will say it's interesting that they formed in 2003, but I think this first album didn't come out till like years later. So I guess they were just maybe doing that thing that we've talked about in the past where they're just pumping out singles and touring and becoming a local band and honing their craft before they really got a shot with a label. That's my best guess anyway. I'm sure somebody out there who's a bigger fan than us at this point can tell us. Though I will say that I do think that we both have potential for being fans in the making, because this was a lot of fun to listen to, and I am wholly intrigued to hear what this and maybe their subsequent albums have to offer. But let's jump into these lyrics. "No one can help when she feels insignificant. She lost some fingers in an industrial accident. She met a man. He was transparent. After a time, his eyes did wander. He sidled away, another absconder. He said he was bored. She admired his candor. So won't you give me a summit?" This northern slang. "So won't you give me summit so that I can sleep? because I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. All night vigils at the window. I can see you through all the smoke, though. Oh no. They kept in touch, the occasional email. He dropped hints about his luck with females, made him look like an imbecile. After 6 months, he had a change of heart, wanted to try and go back to the start, ashamed to say that she just might. So won't you give me something so that I can sleep? It's interesting. He says something here, not summit. Because I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. All night vigils at the window. I can't see you through all the smoke, though. Yes, it was a body blow, but I can't see you through all the smoke, though. No, no, no. In the end, she told him to shove it, not in person. She couldn't face that. It felt good, but it was fleeting. He would mooch around outside her work among her friends. It was a standing joke, but to her, it wasn't that funny. So won't you give me something so that I can sleep? Because I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. All night vigils at the window. I can't see you through all the smoke, though. Yes, it was a body blow, but I can't see you through all that smoke, though. Oh no. And through the windows she can see black smoke, and in the shadows this idiot bloke in a leather coat outside her work. She used to like that twinkle in his eye. Now she can't think why. He's like the photo on the cover of one of them macho gangster books. And the fact that people find it funny and are probably speaking behind her back makes it almost unbearable. Her privacy is the only thing she has ever valued, and it tires her out, and she can't sleep, and she varies her route home, and she lingers in the light. Sometimes she'll stay in when she wants to go out. Sometimes she'll stay in when she wants to go out. It's the third day of the Tyre fire. Keep your windows closed. Is it safe out on the streets? No one knows. The fire engines dance through a crowded street of clones, capturing the flames on their camera phones. Calendar and Look North compete for the view. The kids clown in the background like they're supposed to. Once you've seen the smoke, you can't avert your eyes. Cars pull over, gawping in laybys. Something ancient stirs in your insides, the primitive man in the cave where he hides. Tears evaporate, heat stings your face. Overwhelming helplessness puts you in your place. Your history means nothing, consumed by flames, lightened by your language, deprived of all your names. Your history means nothing, consumed by the flames, lightened of your language, deprived of all your names. Your history means nothing. So yeah, interesting lyrics about, this classic idea of like, oh, you meet a guy, you're kind of smitten. In this case, he's too cool for school and leaves, but then comes back into the picture, and when he does, kind of reveals himself to be the super creep that he is, and now your life is all like you said, like you were mentioning, like I couldn't imagine like changing my route just because of a threat from the opposite sex, or even a threat from our own sex. But it's a different world, and it kind of gives you perspective, and it makes you feel gross as a guy. It makes you feel gross as a human being that this kind of shit exists out there. Yeah.
Because it's creepy. I mean, this tire fire thing's just really, it's really odd. I suspect something happened similar to what I, said in real life that inspired this. And you think, well, you've got this acrid smoke over the town for a couple of days. People aren't allowed in or out of their houses, windows shut and all that. So you feel like you're trapped. I mean, this pre-lockdown, this song, isn't it? So yeah, it's quite,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So again, we don't, we can picture it now, but back then. And then what could people get up to while this black smoke is looming over the town? It's almost like a fog out or whatever, isn't it? And
Hmm.
you see a shadowy figure at the end of your driveway or something like that, and it's this stalkery guy. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as long another thing is like, did he burn her house down, or like a place
Yeah,
where she would have been, which is also, kind of
yeah.
creepy and of. So there's not a lot of not creepy outcomes for this whole story, for being fair. So, uh, but yeah, nonetheless, we've listened to a handful of some pretty creepy songs on here. I mean, Nick Cave's been on this channel too many times for not to be. But yeah, there's countless others. So it's not something that I'm not used to, but there is always this kind of like ick feeling after you give one of these songs a listen, no matter how much you enjoy it or not. I mean, we just talked about this with Waits, where I'm like, God, I love it, but I hate that I love it because he talks about such depressing, sad stuff that you don't want to take joy in it. But you find yourself like inner conflict going on when you listen to it. There's this that exists with this listening experience as well. But I still wholly enjoyed this song, and I'm really intrigued by this band. So I'm kind of interested to see what the rest of their output is like, and I'm sure you are too. So, hats off for,
It's a
artist
great shout,
forums,
yeah.
admin. Yeah, for shouting this
Yeah.
out. You're right. You're right. So, all right, John. Well, thanks for giving this thing a go. Really appreciate your time on this. And BOQ version 2.0 or whatever, admin. We always appreciate you chiming in and giving us some song suggestions. And it's been a minute since one of yours featured on here. So if you happen to catch this, we appreciate your patience, and we definitely appreciate the song suggestion and the artists. These guys are really cool. So great shout. And guys out there in the listening audience, if you want to get one of your suggestions on the channel and you have patience, please feel free to drop one of your suggestions down in the comments field below, and we will be sure to add it to the list for a future Friday episode. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. We really, really do appreciate it. And hopefully everybody's had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year coming up, and we will see you guys for more of this in 2026. See you guys.